Today is day 318 of the October 7th war and the Hamas hostage crisis. This may be the last opportunity to get our hostages home. That are the words of U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, as Hamas again rejected a deal. Hamas is threatening, give us the ability to murder more people in Israel in the next October 7th, or we will murder more hostages right now, just like they claimed to have done a few days ago. Because Hamas are murderers. That is their operational DNA. People ask, how could they have done what they did on October 7th? This is because Hamas is a cult of evil, a cult of death. This has not changed over the last 10 months, and we can see this at the negotiating table. Israel needs our hostages home, and for Hamas not to be able to take more hostages tomorrow. Hamas wants Israel to withdraw before releasing all the hostages, giving them the opportunity to hold our surviving hostages for insurance forever, or worse. Israel is breaking Hamas on the battlefield, and Israel does not want to hand Hamas victory at the negotiation table. Israel does not want to hand Hamas the ability to again threaten the lives of the people of Israel. Hamas is exploding the negotiations because they do not want the war to end. Instead of ending the war they launched on October 7th, Hamas is setting itself up for the next war. On the news is Hamas' demand that Israel leave the Philadelphia corridor. It was under this corridor that Israel found tunnels leading from Egypt into Gaza. These tunnels are large enough to drive semi-trucks through, and that's exactly what Hamas did. They drove semi-trucks full of guns and bombs and rockets from Egypt directly into Gaza. It was those same weapons that were used to attack Israel on October 7th and have been used to attack Israel ever since. Ever wonder how Hamas got these weapons into Gaza? It was under this route that enabled them to bring those weapons inside. What nation would allow the very terrorists who want to destroy them the ability to access the very weapons to do so? For Hamas, the Philadelphia to Gaza route is a weapons lifeline. However, for the innocent people of Israel, the Philadelphia to Gaza route is a death line. Everyone in Israel knows that if we ever left the Philadelphia corridor, we would simply have to return just like last time. Hamas demands to be able to send those weapons unimpeded into northern Gaza to attack Israeli communities, names we've heard of like Kfar Aza and Be'eri, to attack the same places again. And if there's any doubt that this is their intention, we only need to listen to what Ismail Haniyeh, the former leader of Hamas, said weeks after October 7th. He said, we need the blood of the women, the blood of the children, and the blood of the elderly. This was a forerunner of exactly what Hamas carried out under his leadership on October 7th. Hamas thinks its secret weapon for winning and being able to do another October 7th massacre like it promises to is actually you. Hamas is cheering from deep inside their tunnels every time the number of Gazan civilians goes up. That is their plan to manipulate global audiences and to force Israel to allow it to survive. More dead Gazans on the screen is Hamas's endgame, so that the world will force Israel to stop fighting and to leave them in place, to rebuild, to plan, and to attack again. But most rational people know Hamas is evil. They know that Hamas can't be left standing, still holding our hostages. This war has to end with the 3 Ds: destroy Hamas, demilitarize Gaza, de-radicalize Gazans. Just last night, a man exploded himself in Tel Aviv. Police confirmed it was an attempted terror attack. It was a miracle that he did not reach his destination, which was undoubtedly to carry out a suicide attack against innocent Israeli civilians. Earlier in the same day, a terrorist hit a 38-year-old man with a hammer. He murdered him in an industrial zone where Jews and Arabs work together side by side. These attacks are a reminder that an Iranian-backed Hamas terror army attacking from Gaza isn't the only threat. Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and Fatah terrorists are constantly trying to murder innocent people, as Iran continues to flood the area with weapons. Hamas doesn't control most West Bank homes, Judea and Samaria. Why? Because Israel is there to keep them in check. At the same time, so-called moderate Palestinian Fatah President Mahmoud Abbas does control the area, and he pays murderers. The more people they kill, the more cash they get. This is called pay to slay, and it has to stop. He educates his people to hate Jews and glorifies those that succeeded in murder by naming streets after them. As we mentioned yesterday, Fatah officials praised Hamas' October 7th massacre, and Abbas himself this week offered prayers for the Hamas bloody murder leader Ismail Haniyeh. But this shouldn't be surprising. All we have to do to understand Hamas and Abbas' ideology is to look at his doctoral thesis, which is called The Secret Relations Between Nazism and the Leadership of the Zionist Movement. In his PhD, Abbas blames not the Nazis, but the Zionist Jews for bringing on the Holocaust as a means for gaining world sympathy for a Jewish state. He is blaming the Jews in his doctoral thesis for purposely carrying out the Holocaust in order to gain world sympathy. This is the same Abbas, this is the same ideology. And that's why Israel sees Abbas and Fatah as simply another face of the Hamas problem. That's why Israel objects to returning Abbas and his radicalization to the Gaza Strip.